Hi everybody, this is Roxy, Fire Away Flow Your Mom. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you what I will be using for our morning time for the 2023-2024 school year, so you don't want to miss it. Hi everybody, thank you so much for clicking on this video. If these videos bless you, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I'm really excited to share with you today my picks for our morning time subjects and the things that we do during our morning time. Now, what is morning time? Morning time is a time that we get together at the beginning of the homeschool day, once we're done with breakfast, once we're done with our morning chores, and we actually get together and do some subjects together as a family. So we love our morning time. Our morning time lasts about an hour and a half, and what's great about it is I get to fit in a lot of different subjects in a loop schedule, meaning that we do a different subject every single day or a different topic every single day. And I get to also include a bunch of different read alouds and resources that I want my kids to be able to be exposed to and to be able to listen to without me having to spend extra time in my school day. So I'm going to share with you what my format is for our morning time. Again, we do our morning time in the morning from about 8:30 a.m. to about 10 a.m. Hour and a half. So what is it that we do? So for the first 30 minutes, we start with a morning prayer. Then we do our daily affirmations. And the daily affirmations I love because they are just positive things that I want my kids to really tell themselves every day. Daily affirmations are really important, not only for kids, but for adults as well, to really get that time to speak truth to yourself so that your mind hears good and amazing things about yourself. One of the things that I remember reading in a book was that we engage in a lot of negative self-talk throughout the day. And so having these morning affirmations is a great way to kind of counter that negative talk when you're feeling like a failure, when you're feeling like your day's not going right. So we have daily affirmations, and this is something I started last year, and my kids end up memorizing them, which I really love because then they can actually use these daily affirmations themselves. But I got this one from Etsy, and it's just, today I choose happiness. I will fear no evil, for you are always with me. I am chosen by God. The peace of God will guard my heart and mind today. Through Christ, I can do all things. I cast all my anxiety on you, Lord. The grace of God is enough for me. Today is a fresh start. And I love the last line of this affirmation because, again, I want my kids to know that no matter what happened yesterday, God's mercies are new every single morning. And so we like to recite our morning affirmations. The next thing we do is we do a morning prayer. So we just pray for the day, pray for our homeschool. We also include anybody that we need to pray for. Right now, we are praying for the people that have been affected in Hawaii with the terrible fires that are going on there. And so that's something that we put into our prayer during our morning time. The next thing that I do is we talk about the saint of the day. So we are a Catholic family, and we love to look at and read about the saints because we believe that these holy people lived exemplary lives of service, of humility. And so I really like to teach my kids about the lives of the saints so that they can start to think about these saints and maybe put some of their virtues and some of their character traits into practice in their own lives. And so we study the saints. We just go through in the Catholic Church, what I love is that every day is a feast day of a saint. So what I use for that is a couple of books that I've found throughout the years that have helped me to kind of get the different saint stories. The one of them that I use is the Stories of the Saints. This is a beautiful book that has very colorful pictures and tells the story of that saint, and it tells it in like a story form, which I love. And it also has like where they are from, what they are the patron saint of, and it also has their feast day, which is the day that we are going to be reading about them. So we like to look at what the saint was for the day. We do that. The next thing that I do is we look at what happened on this day in history. And for that, I like to use the American Patriot Almanac. Now, I'm going to be pulling stuff from this cart because this is my morning cart, and it used to be a morning basket, but it has grown so much that now it's a morning cart, which is cool. So we look at the what happened in history. This is a wonderful resource called the American Patriot Almanac, and it just talks about different things that happened in history, in the history of our country, based on whatever day it is. And so this is a really, really great resource. We actually started using it last year, and we're going to continue on using it this year as well. And again, I will link everything that I'm using in the description box below so you don't have to write it down. The next thing that we do is we read from we have a couple of read-alouds that we use. We read a book called The Beatitales. This is 80 fables about the Beatitudes for children. Now, if you don't know what the Beatitudes are a set of teachings from Jesus Christ that he taught, and they are in the Bible. And so what this book does is it takes each of those Beatitudes, each of those teachings of Christ, and it converts them into stories. It brings some stories that have to do with that teaching of Christ. And so this strikes really great discussions with my family because they get to listen to the story, and then we talk about it. How does that story relate to the beatitude that we're talking about? This week, we're actually studying Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. And so it's all about humility and how to show meekness. So this is one that I really love to use as well. Then after that, we practice our memory verse. So every month we have a scripture memory verse that we try to memorize. And at the end of the month, if the kids can memorize it, they get a little treat or a sticker or something. And we get to, I actually record them doing the Bible verse because at the end of the year, I like to have an entire recording of all of the verses that they have memorized throughout the year. And it's just a beautiful keepsake for me as well. So after that, that usually takes us about 30 minutes to get through those different read alouds, those different resources. And again, it's just reading and getting through it. So some of them strike up discussions, some of them don't, so we just move on along. The next thing I do for about 15 minutes is I do our monthly read aloud. This month we are reading about Betty Greene, and we are in the Christian Heroes Then and Now series. And I love this series. I've heard a lot about it. A lot of YouTube mamas do share this resource on YouTube. And I've always wanted to read about the Christian missionaries to my children, but I wanted to wait until they were a little bit older. And now that my youngest is in 3rd grade, I felt that it was the time to start to read the stories of the missionaries, the Christian missionaries. And so we just started reading this book, but so far my kids have really liked it and are really engaged in it. So we do this for about 15 minutes. Now, while I'm doing my read aloud, I have the kids pull out their handwriting books, and they actually do their handwriting curriculum while I do my reading. It kind of keeps their hands busy doing something so that they can keep their ears open. And of course, handwriting is something that they can do without having to concentrate much. So that's what we do for a read aloud. That usually takes about 15 minutes to do. The next thing that we do for about 45 minutes is we do our faith studies. So we will either do a Bible study, or we will do a church history study, or we will do a apologetics study. So last year we did a scripture study and we did catechesis. This year what we're going to be doing is we're going to be incorporating apologetics this year. And apologetics is something that I wanted to also wait until my kids were older. But apologetics, in case you don't know, is a form of theology where you are defending and explaining your faith. One of the things that I think is really important for kids, especially that they're homeschooled, is that we can pour into them not only our faith, but how to defend their faith, how to look at their faith from all different angles, how to answer questions about their faith. Do they really know how to answer to the challenges that people may ask them or people may lodge against them about their faith? And so this year we're going to be doing Catholic apologetics. We're going to be using a curriculum that I found on Etsy, actually, which is really rare because I didn't expect to find it there, but we're actually going to be going through Catholic apologetics. The next thing we're going to be using for so that we're going to be doing twice a week, and then the other 2 days of the week. Now again, morning time, we only do Monday through Thursday. We don't do it on Friday because Friday is our fun Friday where we do our family subjects, and I will link my video on family subjects and what I'm using for that in this video as well. For our so Monday, Wednesdays, we do our Catholic Apologetics. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we go through this book called The Story of the Church. And this is from Tan Books Publishing. And it basically goes through from Pentecost, which we as Catholics consider to be the birthday of the church, to modern times. How did the church expand? How did the church develop over time? What are the good things that happened? What are the not so good that happens throughout her church history? And so I'm really excited to use this resource and help to show my kids. Now this is probably something that is geared more towards like 5th and 6th grade. So even though my 3rd grader is going to be in the classes, I know some of the stuff's going to go over her head, but this is really perfect, especially if you have middle schoolers that want to learn about church history. So for the last hour of our morning time, this is where I incorporate a loop schedule, and we do different subjects depending on the day. So this year on Mondays, we are going to be learning about, so every month I like to do a different theme for that last hour of our morning time. And I'm going to kind of go through some of the themes that I'm going to be doing this year. I don't have all of my themes nailed down yet because some of them I kind of wait and see what unit studies come out, what unit studies are out there that I may be able to use. So for this month, for August, we are focusing on hurricane season because it's hurricane season where we live in the state of Florida. We are going to be continuing on with our weather and water unit study that we started last year and we didn't get to finish. So I put it in to this month so that we can get the rest of those lessons done. So we're going to be studying weather and water. In September, it's going to be all about manners. So I've found this great resource called Manners Made Easy, which I found on christianbook.com, and it's a great resource to be able to teach kids manners. So we're going to focus on that for the month of September. For the month of October, I'm probably going to find something fun, like something where we can study either like Edgar Allan Poe, or we can study scary stories or Halloween or something cool like that. In November, we're going to probably do a Thanksgiving unit study. December, a Christmas unit study. I'm thinking we're probably going to study the Nutcracker. I'm really excited to do that because it's a beautiful story, and we actually went to see the Nutcracker last year and the kids had a lot of questions, so we might be doing that this year for December. For February, we're going to be studying old fairy tales. So all of the old fairy tales from Hans Christian Andersen and all of that. And anything else that I can kind of think of. In Easter, we do an Easter study and all of that. So that's what we do on Mondays. On Tuesdays, we focus on health. So this year for health, we're going to be doing 2 unit studies. The first one is Health and the Physical Body and Health and the Human Mind from the Good and the Beautiful. So I have here the unit studies so you guys can see what they look like. But we are really excited to dive into these because this is a subject that I really haven't done with my kids ever. We did a little bit last year, but not really as in depth. So we're going to be doing the health and the physical body, and we're going to be doing the health and the human mind. So I'm really excited about that. On Wednesdays, which are our co-op days, we are going to do Squilt Live. Squilt Live is an online music program, music appreciation program, where there is a woman and she teaches the classes. I love the, open and go thing. And she teaches the classes and the kids just sit and they watch her on either Zoom if we do it live, or they watch the playback from her class. And there's a little packet. I will leave in the description box some information on it. I highly recommend Squilt Live. This is our 3rd year using it and we really love it. Miss Mary is super animated. She keeps the kids engaged. She plays tons of wonderful music. My kids have actually, they know a lot of the classical composers and their music when we go around, and we'll hear something in a movie or we'll hear something at the store, they will recognize what composer made that piece. So I really love that program. Then on Thursdays, we go into geography. So this year, we're going to be studying world geography. And what we're going to be using for that is a couple of resources. The first one is we're going to be using the Around the World with Picture books from Beautiful Feet Books, Volume 1 and 2. And we're just going to basically pick one country to study every 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, we're going to have a country that we study, that we look at. We're going to have some notebooking that we're going to be doing. Also, along with the beautiful feet books, we're going to be using the Waldock Ways Traveling the World. And I love this curriculum. It's a unit study that she has on her website, and I will include her website below. This is Jessica from the Waldock Way, and she has a curriculum called Traveling the World. And so we're going to be using this curriculum in conjunction with Beautiful Feet books. And what I love about Jessica's curriculum is she includes a lot of QR codes with links to videos and things like that. And I love that because it just takes all the research out from me having to do it for each country, and it's very open and go and easy to do. So my kids are going to be doing that, and I can do a separate video just on our Around the World unit study because there are some other resources that I'm using, but I don't want to make this video too long. So I do have other resources that I can share, but I'm going to do that in a separate video. So if you want to see how we're going to do our Around the World unit study, definitely leave a comment and I will make a video for that. So other resources that I like to have on hand for the morning time is obviously a Bible. Always like to have our Bibles when we're actually going to be doing a couple of Bible studies from Not Consumed Ministry. So I'm really excited about that. So I wanted each of my kids to have a Bible this year. Obviously I got a big rolling map of the world so that we can pinpoint all of the different countries that we're going to be visiting. I also have a couple of apologetics books that I wanted to share that I'm going to be just throwing in on our apologetics studies days. This one is called The Answers Book for Kids, Volume 1, 22 questions from kids about creation in the fall. This is a 6-volume series, and I'm really excited because these are kids that send questions about faith and how those questions are answered. So I really love that because it comes from a kid's perspective. So I think it's really going to touch my children when they read. I also found this book. It's from Lee Strobel, The Case for Christ for Kids. Now, Lee Strobel is the author of the book where they based it on the movie The Case for Christ. So this is also has questions on apologetics, so I figured I would include that as well. What else? Oh, we also, for our Around the World, the unit study, I found this really great book called Saints Around the World. And what it does is it separates into different countries saints that have done, are from those countries. So I figured we would use this in conjunction with our Around the World unit study, where we're going to be looking at the saints and what country that they come from and the things that they contributed to that country, to that community. So we're going to be using this resource as well. And then also we are going to be using this resource called Maps. And it just is really cool because it has, each country has a map and it has a lot of really cool information. It's very colorful. And so I'm going to have these things out while we're studying each of the countries. And that's about it. I've got all this stack of books. That's about it. That's all I'm going to be using for the morning cart this year. Let me know what you think. Like the video if you think that these resources are helpful. Stay tuned because I'm actually going to be filming a homeschool room tour. I have been getting a lot of requests lately for what you guys see in the background of my videos. This is my homeschool room. I do most of my videos in my homeschool room, but I'm sure you guys want me to turn the camera around and see what it looks like. So I'm going to be doing a homeschool room tour very soon. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you're alerted when a new video comes up. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.